Can't you see what that Jesus has been doing to me? Gave me a new haircut, new do. We're on lesson 32 of the workbook of A Course in Miracles. I have invented the world I see. I have invented the world I see. Yesterday's lesson, or the last lesson, lesson 31, was I am not the victim of the world I see. Before that, God is in everything I see. Because God is in my mind. God is in everything I see. I am not a victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. It goes even further now. I have invented the world I see. You would think that this one would come before God is in everything I see, actually. But it comes after it. Because the idea of I have invented the world I see, you would think would precede, and then God is in everything I see, to fill in the empty space, right? Once you've established that you are making this world up, you have invented the world that you see. But let's read it, and then we'll talk about it. Paragraph 1. Today we are continuing to develop the theme of cause and effect. You are not the victim of the world you see because you invented it. You can give it up as easily as you made it up. You will see it or not see it as you wish. While you want it, you will see it. When you no longer want it, it will not be there for you to see. Paragraph 2. The idea for today, like the preceding ones, applies to your inner and outer worlds, which are actually the same. However, since you see them as different, the practice periods for today will include two phases, one involving the world you see outside you, and the other the world you see in your mind. In today's exercises, try to introduce the thought that both are in your own imagination. Paragraph 3. Again, we will begin the practice periods for the morning and evening by repeating the idea for today 2 or 3 times while looking around at the world you see as outside yourself. Then close your eyes and look around your inner world. Try to treat them both as equally as possible. Repeat the idea for today unhurriedly as often as you wish, as you watch the images your imagination presents to your awareness. 4. For the 2 longer practice periods, 3 to 5 minutes are recommended, with not less than 3 required. More than 5 can be utilized if you find the exercise restful. To facilitate this, select a time when few distractions are anticipated and when you yourself feel reasonably ready. 5. These exercises are also to be continued during the day as often as possible. The shorter applications consist of repeating the idea slowly as you survey either your inner or outer world. It does not matter which you choose. 6. The idea for today should also be applied immediately to any situation that may distress you. Apply the idea by telling yourself, I have invented this situation as I see it. And that last part there is the important part. As I see it, I have invented this situation. All right, let's talk about it. Let's read through it paragraph by paragraph. We'll get into the nitty-gritty, the nuances. God is in the details, and the devil's also in the details. So we don't want to get too analytical, you might say, but we do want to understand what it's saying. We try to understand the message here if we can. I don't know if we can, actually, but we'll try. So today we are continuing to develop the theme of cause and effect. This is a very big theme in the course. Cause and effect is a very big theme all throughout the course. I think the idea is that anything, wherever you see an effect, there has to be a cause. If Jesus can establish that sin has no effects, then it has no cause, and it does not exist. Anything that exists, there's cause and effect. For something to not exist, it must not have a cause. It must be have no effect and have no cause. And that would be sin, right? What what Jesus is really getting at is that in the ego's mind, sin definitely is real. And so it must have a real cause. What could that real cause be? Did God create sin? If God created sin, then God is not perfect. If God did not create sin and something else created sin, God is still not perfect. This is just, I'm just giving some thoughts on the subject of cause and effect. But let's keep reading. Today we are continuing to develop the theme of cause and effect. You are not the victim of the world you see because you invented it. You can give it up as easily as you made it up. You will see it or not see it as you wish. While you want it, you will see it. When you no longer want it, it will not be there for you to see. Now, is this saying that the world does not exist? Or is it saying the way that we are seeing the world does not exist? Now, it seems, at least in this first paragraph, that what Jesus is saying is we are inventing the way that we see the world, right? The world is not, when we see it through the eyes of the ego, that is made up, that is invented, and that is not real. That doesn't mean that the world is not real, at least in this, what Jesus is saying, although he does say, you will see it or not see it as you wish. While you want it, you will see it. When you no longer want it, it will not be there for you to see. Now, if it said you are not the victim of the world because you invented it, that would be different. But he says you are not the victim of the world you see because you invented the world you see. Now, does that mean... Now, let me just say that Helen was pretty emphatic herself that the world is not real, the world does not exist. Jesus does seem to suggest throughout the course that the world is totally unreal, not just the way that we see it. So that's why I'm bringing this up. It's one of those hot topic, debatable issues in the world of A Course in Miracles. There's disagreement. So paragraph 2, here we go. The idea for today, like the preceding one, applies to your inner and outer worlds, which are actually the same. However, since you see them as different, the practice periods for today will again include 2 phases, one involving the world you see outside you, and the other the world you see in your mind. In today's exercises, try to introduce the thought that both are in your own imagination. So the world inside of yourself, the world of your thoughts, is really not different than the world outside of yourself. And it really, everything starts in your mind, in your imagination, right? Jesus uses that word, your own imagination. Does that mean, once again, that we are actually imagining a world that is not there? It seems to suggest that we're imagining, Jesus says at one point in the text, what if you understood that this world is an hallucination? What if you really knew that you made it up? This world is a hallucination. It's not there. Everything is coming from the mind. The mind is really the source. So what you see outside of yourself, again, projection makes perception. What you see outside of yourself is an outward depiction of an inward condition, right? I probably messed up that quote, but what you're seeing is based on what's going on inside of yourself. Paragraph 3. Again, we will begin the practice periods for the morning and evening by repeating the idea for today 2 or 3 times while looking around at the world you see as outside yourself. Then close your eyes and look around your inner world. Try to treat them both as equally as possible. Repeat the idea for today unhurriedly as often as you wish, as you watch the images your imagination presents to your awareness. Again, the word imagination. So you do this inwardly with eyes closed. You do it with your eyes open. You do it with your eyes closed. First, you do it with your eyes open, and then you do it with your eyes closed. You do it unhurriedly. You're not in any rush to do this. And you repeat the idea, maybe just mentally or maybe out loud. I have invented the world I see. As you watch the images that are presented to your awareness. I have invented the world I see. So it means that you've invented the world outside of yourself, and you've invented the world inside your mind, right? Not just outside your mind, but also inside your mind. 4, for the 2 longer practice periods, 3 to 5 minutes are recommended, with not less than 3 required. More than 5 can be utilized if you find the exercise restful. So you don't want to tax yourself. You don't want to trouble yourself or scare yourself or make this too much of an effort. To facilitate this, select a time when few distractions are anticipated and when you yourself feel reasonably ready to do the exercises. 5, these exercises are also to be continued during the day as often as possible. The shorter applications consist of repeating the idea slowly as you survey either your inner or outer world. It does not matter which you choose. The idea for today should be applied immediately to any situation that may distress you. Apply the idea by telling yourself, I have invented this situation as I see it. So if you get distressed by anything, you remind yourself, I have invented this. Right? This goes hand in hand really with the victim. I am not a victim of the world I see. Right? I can't be a victim if I made it up. Nothing really is happening to me. It is more that I have chosen to see what I'm seeing. And the whole idea of choice is so important in the Course, right? That we are choosing to see what we want to see. And why are we seeing something that is distressing? It must be because we want to see something distressing, right? We are choosing to see that, which doesn't make any sense. Why would we want to distress why do we want to stress ourselves out or make ourselves sad or troubled or suffer or experience pain or any of these things? That's a good question. I think where this is going is because we're afraid of giving up the ego. We're afraid of what it would look like if we did not have an ego, and the distress and the stress and the suffering and the pain and all of that is very familiar to us because we are so allied with the ego thought system that losing that, even though we're in pain and suffering, losing that seems even worse. Like, I can deal with the pain and suffering. It's scary to think of what I would be without my story, right? Without my ego, what would happen to me? Who would I be? What would I be? That's what's seems to be at stake here. So anyway, maybe we'll leave it at that for right now. Tomorrow's lesson 33 is there is another way of looking at the world. So I think we already know that, but there's a lot of repetition in all of this, and it's somewhere Jesus says that we need the repetition because we keep going back to this false identification that we have with the ego. So we need the repetition, and we need to repeat these things, and let them really sink in and really It takes, and this is all a process for most people. This is not like you're suddenly going to wake up. And the reality is that most of us do not want to wake up that quickly, at least, right? We could see waking up maybe, once we're good and ready to wake up, but not before that. So anyway, I hope I'm doing justice to this. I'm doing my best. Trying to use the best of my awareness. Just keep in mind that everything that I have said is my own interpretation, more or less. I'm trying to stick closely to the text, so what it actually says, but you almost cannot help but, because the Course is so hard to understand, especially, it's hard to not interpret it. It's hard not to try to, make sense of it and possibly misunderstand it or misrepresent it. So keep that in mind as well. And the best way to do it is just to read it on your own and seek your own inner guidance as to what it means. So with that said, we'll see you next time. And I would always love your comments, feedback, anything else. See you soon. Thank you.